Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. I've got a 40k tactics video today. I'm coming away from Death Stars for a while until I can come up with some more I can talk about. I only really know one more. And I want to talk about the Gunline. The Gunline is obviously when a shooting army such as Tau sets out on a board in a line and basically says, come at me. I'm not coming to you, come at me. Take my objective, take my kill points. All we'll do is we'll sit here and we'll blast you to pieces while you do it. Tau are particularly good at this tactic because they have extremely long range guns. For example, the pulse carbine is 30-inch range, whereas the bolt gun is 24-inch range, and is strength 5, whereas bolt guns are strength 4 and las guns are only strength 3. Thus meaning they can cause a massive amount of damage from further away. Add in the Markolite system that the Tau Codex has become infamous for, and it can strip away wounds and strip away cover saves so easily. And it really can mess with opponents. Those who rely heavily on vehicles often find themselves coming under fire from broadsides. Those who run heavy flyers often find themselves being hit by velocity trackers and other anti-flyer defences built into the Tau army. Those who run mass infantry run into mass pulse carbines and flamer weapons. Those who run very heavy infantry often come across things like riptides with their ion cannons going boom. Those who obviously run very tank heavy, as I say, come under broadsides and often then have to fear the mighty hammerhead and its strength 10 AP 1 massive range railgun as well. So the Tau is one of the better gunline armies. There are other armies that can do it. For example, the Necrons are a very good stand and shoot army. They have a lot of rapid fire weapons within 24 inches who can cause a lot of damage, plus they're very hard to put down. And to a degree, Space Marines and Guard can do it. They can stand and they can shoot and wait for the armies to come at them. You can't run every army as a gunline. Oddly enough, Tyranids can run shooty lists, I think. I'm not 100%, I'm not an id player. But they have to be a moving shooting list, obviously, because they're quite short-ranged. And for assault armies, this gunline tactic is death incarnate. Those who take a horde and run at their opponent are going to find themselves being cut down, what's the phrase, like wheat before a scythe. They're just going to get chopped down and mowed through before they get a chance to get close, because of the amount of firepower coming at them. Particularly in the Tau's case, if you add Ethereals and Cadre Fireblades, who can just Cadre Fireblades, you can say, Fire Warrior stand still and use more shots. Ow. So it's really difficult for assault armies to counter the gunline. One of the best things I can say about the Tau gunline in particular is it's not that resilient. They need cover. For example, a Fire Warrior is toughness 3 with a 4+ armor save. That's not amazing. I mean, it's the same as a Guardsman and Carapace armor, for crying out loud. And they go down pretty easily to most things. Plus, if you can get them in melee, their weapon skill 2, NAF initiative, 1 attack, strength 3, they're pretty pathetic in melee if you can get there. So, plus, all their units obviously are pretty bad at melee. And the only other things you have to worry about particularly then are battle suits. Crisis suits, riptides, particularly because of their high-powered guns and their high maneuverability. The riptide is the big thing. I don't have an image to hand, but I'm not sure how big it is in model, but it's pretty big. And it is a jump infantry, monstrous creature, who can hop around with a massive gun, have a 4+ invulnerable, and he's really quite tough to put down, even though he's not the hardest, because obviously now with the Eldar Wraith Knight at toughness 8, the Riptide looks pretty pale in comparison. But he has the Nova Charge, which can boost his gun, boost his maneuverability, boost his invulnerable save, whichever the Tau player decides to. Yes, there's a risk it will wound the Riptide, but with 4 or 5 wounds, I doubt that being a major issue. And if he does get the Nova Charge off, you're in a lot of trouble. Really a lot of trouble. Because a supercharged ion cannon is, wow. A supercharged jump pack and he'll be going from one end of the board to the other. Supercharged shield and he'll have a 3+ invulnerable, and if you've seen anything with storm shields, you'll know how powerful storm shields are and how tough they are to kill. The crisis suits bring a lot of melter and plasma. They can also bring flamers. They have the jump, shoot, jump tactics. They can get in, fire up close and get out again, making them really hard to engage. They have 3+ armor saves, 2 or 3 wounds, and the Tau commander can be given all sorts of boosters that can help his squad, such as, I don't really know the Codex that well, I need to have a look at it, but there is a build where the Tau commander is taken without any real weapons, just a load of buffs to keep him alive, such as Iridium armor for a 2+ save, and he's just used as tank the wounds and boost the squad, and it's really annoying. So Tau can play a mobile game, but they're very good at sitting in cover and bang. In terms of countering gun lines, there are a couple of things you can do. One is speed, obviously, because the faster you get there, the less time they're going to have to shoot at you. So biker squads, fast transports, flyers, well, possibly flyers because they have a lot of anti-air, are very good at getting up the board, getting in their face and distracting. That's what most fast units do, they distract. Deep striking units are the same. They can drop in and be in a position where the Tau or Guard or Necrons cannot ignore them. They have to shoot at them to bring them down or engage them to bring them down. Outflankers are the same. Outflankers will go down because usually they don't have better saves than a 4 such as Space Marine Scouts, but they are good at just getting in a position where they're going to cause a nightmare. It's a commonly held Orc tactic when running a horde that distracting the enemy is the best trick in the book. If you throw Storm Boys and Commandos and Warbikers at them, they're going to get distracted and they're going to ignore the big hordes coming up. Same applies to Marines. If you've got 2 Space Marine squads in Rhinos, if you bring a drop pod Dreadnought down, suddenly he's right up in the Tau's face, and the Tau know he's going to wade through everything, wreck everything he hits, even up to and maybe including a Riptide. So he's going to have to go down. And he's going to draw an extortionate amount of fire because of his high armor, and if you've upgraded into Venerable, he's maybe even more survivable. So distraction units are key, speed is key, and answer them back. Don't think, oh, I've got to get them in melee. You can't. If you can get within 24 inches of a Tau army, you may well be able to outshoot it, because they're not very good with high strength, low AP guns. So just to use Guard as an example, the Eradicator Nova Cannon is strength 6 AP 4, ignores cover. I think it's larger, it could be small blast. Drop that at a Fire Warrior squad hiding in a forest, on 2s, woof, bye. Bye Fire Warriors, nice knowing you, you're dead. And this tactic can be repeated over and over. And if you've got assault armies like the White Scars, which I've covered their chapter tactics in a recent video, they've got hit and run, so they can charge in, lock a unit down for a Tau turn, disengage, and then go back in again. Although I should warn you, if you are going to run an assault game against Tau, beware the supporting fire rule. This allows, if a unit is charged, other units within 6 inches who aren't being charged themselves to add an overwatch to that squad's overwatch. So if you've charged, let's say, 1 Fire Warrior squad of 10, and there's a Fire Warrior squad and a Crisis team which aren't being charged 6 inches away, they can add their overwatch. And that can be really wrecking to have all those shots coming at you, particularly if there are an abundance of flamers in the Crisis team. Or if you're a Walker charging in and there's a broadside stood 2 inches away, pop. It's really hard to deal with it, but you can deal with it because all you've got to do is present multiple threats. One big blob charging 1 squad will get overwatched to death. No 2 ways about it, really. Whereas 3 squads of 10 charging all the squads in 6 inches alongside a big squad of 20, suddenly his supporting fire goes out the door, and all of a sudden he's got all their units engaged, in trouble, and probably going down. So Horde blob squads are less good here. MSU might actually be a better build here. Obviously still I advocate a balance of the 2, but MSU is better than blobs. Don't go crazy on flyers because velocity trackers, marker lights, everything else can really put paid to flyers and flying monstrous creatures. They can get brought down pretty easily. So transport's good, flying transport's maybe not so good. Monstrous creatures, I don't know how good monstrous creatures are against Tau. Sure, because of strength 5 they can wound on 5s instead of 6s, so it can bring them down. So maybe. I mean, the more monster creatures you have, the more threats you present, the more problems you cause your Tau opponents. Anyway, to sum up, gun lines need to be set up, covered off, things like Aegis lines, things like bastions, sky shield pads, all those sorts of things. All the good terrain can work in your favour, even things like forest to hide in. Dealing with them, be quick, use distraction units, try and assault more than one unit at a time, and put paid to supporting Overwatch in the case of Tau, or just massed Overwatch, and prevent counter assaults even, because often most armies can bring counter assault units such as Necro Lich Guards, such as Ogrins, such as Space Marine Terminators, who can come in and flank the assaulting unit, cut it out, and then trouble. So on the one hand, you need cover and you need good support units. On the other, you need distractions, you need speed, and you need multiple threats. The more threats you present, the more problems your opponent's going to have. That's all for today. I'm probably going to do something based on the Assault Army or the Speed Army pretty soon, so as you can get an idea of what else you're up against, because Assault has been nerfed or weakened slightly in 6th edition due to the Overwatch and you can't assault from reserve, but I'll talk about that another time. I will try and get on to doing the next part of the Space Marine Codex as quickly as I can as well. At the time as I'm recording, my HQ video is uploading, and I'll be doing the troops and transports video after I finish this, and then I'll try and have the elite section as well. That's all. Be sure to leave a like or any opinions. Thank you for watching. My name is Michael, and I will see you again.